Hi, this is Michael Becker, and in this Tinderbox lesson, we're going to look at something really fun. We're going to take a look at how to build a PowerPoint presentation out of Tinderbox. So let me show you how that's going to work. So there's a few things that we need to be able to make this happen. First and foremost, obviously we need Tinderbox, but we also need a couple of other things configured on our computer, specifically three. We need Homebrew, Pandoc, and some form of text editing tool like BBEDIT, and then the scripts associated with Pandoc. So what are all of these things? Let me explain that to you. So Homebrew is a software package, an open source software package that you can put on your Mac that will help you get in access to your Mac's command line tools and services a lot easier. And you'll notice in this Tinderbox file, I've got a note here that will show you how to go and learn more about Homebrew. It's basically an open source package that allows you to interact work with the basically Apple's operating system a little bit more straightforward. Then there's this other application called Pandoc, and Pandoc 2 is an open source solution that was built by John McFarlane, a philosophy professor over at University of California, Berkeley. And Pandoc is this wonderful utility that basically take really nearly any format of content and transform it into another form of content. In the context of this demonstration, we're going to be taking Markdown language out of Tinderbox and transforming it into a PowerPoint file. And I'll let you go learn more about Pandoc yourself in just a minute. But what I do want to show you here is I'm just going to go ahead and pull up my terminal here, and to give you just a little bit of insight as to what we mean by this command line stuff here on your Mac OS. So if you've opened up Terminal, and I've already pre-installed Brew already, but if I type Brew list, this will show you all of the different command line software that I have running on my Mac. And I can go ahead and run any of these programs at the command line and do really cool things like using ImageMagick to transform images, using grep, and awk to run regular expression controls. Oyster allows me to tweet from the command line. And in this case, Pandoc allows me to convert you have one type of format into another type of format. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you right now. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way. And we're just going to now focus on Tinderbox. So now if you're looking at my Tinderbox file, I've got a handful of notes. And I've essentially been doing notes just like you normally would be doing in Tinderbox. In this context, though, I'm going to be writing them in Markdown language. So I've got, I said, presentation built in Tinderbox. And so I've got a note here, and here's my first Markdown language. I'm using these this notation style here because this is what Pandocs will use to essentially know that the information that's put in between these dots here is going to go into the notes file of a PowerPoint file. Likewise, you'll see here I've got a bullet and some text, and I've got a bullet and some text, some more bullets and text. Now here's some more Markdown language. I'm building a table, and so I'm using Markdown language that Pandoc will then use to know that I want to have a table, and it's going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 headings and 5 cells with data in those cells. I can also use other kinds of Markdown language. So in this case, I'm using these dots here to tell Pandoc that I want to have 2 columns. Those 2 columns are going to, on the left side is going to have 2 bullets, and on the right side of the column, I want a picture of me. And then finally, here I'm using Markdown language to tell Pandoc to stick an image in there. And this is an image that will have been the same directory that's on my hard drive. So essentially, you can just be creating notes. And if you're thinking about the way you basically curate and collect and create notes within Tinderbox, this is a method that you can now use to contribute those notes by publishing them out of Tinderbox. Now, what are some of the other elements that you need? Well, first and foremost, you want to install the Markdown prototype. So that will tell Tinderbox that these notes are being specifically written in Markdown. And again, you can learn more about Markdown just by doing a whole bunch of different searches on the web. The other thing that you'll need to do is you'll need to have my Markdown templates. Now you can modify these however you want, but what you'll see what I did here, and let me explain what I've done here. What Markdown is looking for, and specifically Pandoc is looking for a specific Markdown so it knows what to do with the text you're passing it to it. So when it sees a single hash mark like this, it knows that it's a title slide. And so I'm essentially saying hash mark, give me the name and the of which is basically the title slide of the presentation, and then the children. And the children are then going to be the slides. So each of these first level children are the slide, the slide, each individual slide for the presentation. And then the bullets, the children of the children, are essentially the bullets that I want on each of the slides. And so if you go here, then you'll see that children items are then essentially, this is saying 2 hash marks tells Pandoc that this is another slide. And then I'm having it put in the text. And then if that slide has children, which in this case are what I'm considering to be bullets, I want it to then process it with another template called bullets. And so you'll then see, well, I want the bullets to be the name of the bullet and then the text of that's on that particular slide. That's it. That's all you need to do. Now, a couple things to keep in mind. Is in this case, I wanted a little bit more granular control. So I'm actually telling the system exactly what template I want it to use. So the title slide is going to use Pandoc Pres. And then you'll notice all of the children are going to use the Pandoc item template here. Now I could have easily modified my template to make that different, but in this case I didn't. And if you want to ask me questions later, we can. So now watch what's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead here. I am then going to take my Markdown language and paste it into BBEDIT. Now over in BBEDIT, BBEDIT lets us run different kinds of scripts. So you'll see here I've got a Markdown to PPTX script. If we open up the scripts folder in BBEDIT, I can pull that over for you right now. You'll see that this script is just there, and the script is nothing more than a text file. And that text file is telling it what to do. So essentially saying, go get the path for what we're doing here, with where this particular text file is saved, and then it's saying run the Pandoc command line to then go and convert it. And essentially, this is an example of a command line text. The command line is essentially saying run the command line at Pandoc. And then it's saying take this current document and make the output into a PowerPoint file. That's essentially what this command line is saying. And again, when we have more time, I can show you, or we can dig in deeper on how all of that works. So let me go now and say, so you've seen that we've saved that, and I'm going to go ahead and hit save now. And so then if I go run this script, you'll see, voila, we've got a PowerPoint file that has now been generated from the text of our Tinderbox file. So just so you know and see that I wasn't cheating, let's go ahead and create another note. So I'm going to go over here, go to text. We'll create come on, let me create another note. Okay, here is another slide. All right, and we'll say this is bullet 5, and this is going to be bullet 6, and we can say bullet 6 is about something really cool. Okay, we're then going to import these in, and as I said, we want to make sure that these have the item template like that, and we don't want to forget to make sure that they're in Markdown, not HTML. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we'll go back here. We're going to select all of that again, go back to BBEDIT, hit paste, hit save, and then we're going to rerun our script. And there you go. And now we have another file. And then here's another slide, and bullet 6 is about something really cool. So again, you can produce PowerPoint files pretty darn easily out of your Tinderbox, which I think is really fun and is going to be saving me a ton of time down the road. So with that, I hope you really enjoyed this lesson. And again, if you have any questions or just shoot them over to me, and I'm happy to answer them for you. And as always, if you wouldn't mind liking this video, I'd really appreciate that. And if you could also subscribe to the channel, that would be great too. Thank you very much. Bye.